Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Excuse me! Taxi!
Come on, what are you doing? This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Well, joining us now to talk about all of this is Lara Trump. Of course, she's the host of My View with Lara Trump, also the daughter-in-law of President Trump. Lara, take it away. There are so many topics.
There are so many topics. Listen, I'm excited about my show this weekend, and I feel like we're covering a lot of topics on the show. Maybe we'll start there. We have the fraud czar, Paul McDonald, who has put together this entire fraud task force from the DOJ. Everybody's seen what happened in Minnesota. We've seen a lot as it relates to Medicare and Medicaid out in California. He's got a whole task force focused on this. He wants to save American taxpayer money, and this is what so many people voted Donald Trump into office to do, to stop this fraud, waste, and abuse, and the egregious spending by our government. But he's focused on it. He's on the show this weekend. I also have Dana White on the show. Everybody's excited about this UFC fight on the White House lawn. The president just today said that next week they're going to start building that octagon out on the White House. So it's going to be amazing. And then I have Judge Jeanine Pirro, who obviously is the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. We're still interested in, it's been a little less than a week since a third assassination attempt against the president, which is absolutely insane, guys, within the span of 2 years. And she takes us through the whole case, where they are now and what's to come. So it's crazy stuff. But listen, a lot going on right now.
We had, me and Rita, we had Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch on a few days ago, and he shocked all of us. He says there was 1 million people on the voting
rolls in New York since like 2022 that were not supposed to be there.
And they took them off. And I asked him how many more in the rest of the country. He says it could be 20 to 24 million. I mean, Is that possible?
Well, honestly, John, I hate to say it. I believe that. Look, I was the co-chair of the party, and this is one of the things we worked overtime to try and address, but it's very challenging when you have these attorneys general like Keith Ellison, for example, in the state of Minnesota, who blocked everything we wanted to do to get transparency in this space. This is another thing that this fraud task force from the DOJ is focusing on. It's crazy to think of those kind of numbers, but it wouldn't surprise me, because when we actually got our hands on things, whenever we could actually get a peek behind the curtain, we found so many fraudulent voting files and voting records, people who'd been deceased for decades. They had dead cats that were registered to vote in some parts of the country, if you can actually believe that. So the way we get the trust of the American public back in terms of our electoral process, which is so vital, is we have to expose all of this, and we have to fix all of this. And I, for one, am grateful that we have a president and an administration working to address exactly that.
You know, Lara, too, you talked about the fraud. Did you see it was Brooke Rollins who came out, the ag secretary, and she was talking about on SNAP benefits, of course, like the food benefits. And obviously those are supposed to be for folks who don't have a lot of money, supposed to fill the gap and help them. Some of them, she was listing like this many Lamborghinis, this one meant a BMW. So it's in so many areas.
Yeah, and it's so sad because, you know, the people who this stuff is actually supposed to benefit really do need the help, and they're being ripped off. The American taxpayers are being ripped off. You know, you look at some of the fraud that was found out in California, and some of these people who were supposed to, you know, be helping individuals who needed help on the healthcare front, they were doing things like buying cosmetic surgeries with this kind of money. That is not what it is intended to be used for. And so I think that it's about time somebody did this. One of the questions I asked the fraud czar, Colin McDonald, I said, why is it that no one actually addressed any of this? Why is it no one looked into this fraud prior to right now? And he said, you know why? Because it is a tough job. And sometimes it takes a person like Donald Trump to get everybody headed in the right direction, to say, I don't care how hard it is, we're going to do the right thing. And that's exactly where we found ourselves.
Laura, I have to ask you about Graham Plattner. This is the guy in Maine. This is shocking. This guy who now is going to get the nominee for the Democratic Party. He has a Nazi tattoo. He said, "I love Hamas." He's also really diminished sexual assault victims. I mean, to me, this is like the worst of the worst. And now suddenly he's the candidate because Janet Mills, the governor, dropped out of the race. He's going to be up against Susan Collins in Maine. What do you make of the fact that that this is the candidate, that this is the best the Democratic Party is going to put up, and that it seems like the rest of the Democratic Party, whether they liked him or not to begin with, now they love him. Now they're like, oh, he went through PTSD. Feel bad for him. I guess everybody who's PTSD does a big pro-Hamas, love the Nazis deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And honestly, Rita, it just shows really where this party stands. You look at the fact that they have elected socialists in places like New York City and places like Seattle. You look at the fact that, you have California proposing this wealth tax that is driving the wealthiest of California, the people who support some of these crazy ideas and all this crazy funding, they're driving them out. They did it in New York. You had Kathy Hochul begging for people to come back. But this is who the party is. And whenever you get so fringe, these are the kind of people you attract. So look there at Graham Plattner as the new face of the Democrat Party. You can put him in there with Mamdani, with AOC, with Ilhan Omar. That's who the Democrats are. They're radical. It's crazy, some of the things that they are proposing, their ideas, and we know that their policies hurt people. So unfortunately, I think this is the direction of the party, and this is probably what we're going to see a lot more of.
Wow. I mean, I don't know if it gets worse than a Nazi tattoo, but let's go to Judge Weinberg. I can't believe that, Lara. I'm laughing. I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Lara, good to talk to you again. So let's get this straight. Plattner is not only somebody walking out with the Nazi tattoos, but he's also a communist. He's anti-capitalist. He's anti-Semitic. He's anti-law and order and public safety. And this is the face and the voice of the Democratic Party. And where's Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Senate Democrats, repudiating him? Where are any of the Democrats in the National Party in Congress repudiating him and saying enough is enough is enough?
Well, you're exactly right. Where are these people? And I believe that this is what happens when you have a void at the top of the Democrat Party, and that happened during the 4 years of Joe Biden as president of the United States. And maybe we should put that term in air quotes, guys, because who the heck was actually running things? We know it was the auto pen.
Exactly.
But whenever the leader of the party, who is arguably the president of the United States, is just a shell of a human, this is the kind of thing that happens. It opens it up when your party doesn't stand for common sense anymore. It opens it up to these kind of people. And the Democrats haven't pushed back on some of these radical ideas. The more kind of middle of the road Democrats should have been standing up a long time ago. The leaders of this party didn't do that. They had a void at the top, and these people filled that void. And now this is sadly what you have.
Ed Cox.
Going back, Laura, to what the question John asked, where's the money coming from? Because apparently Plantier, the guy with the Nazi tattoo, he had all the money he needed, while Janet Mills, the governor
who was Maine, a more moderate, right?
Did not have the money to continue. Where's the money coming from?
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, I don't know. Did you know this, Laura, that Graham Plattner, I don't know if he still is, but one of the senior aides to Mamdani was working with Plattner's campaign. That was sort of his bridge.
Least surprising thing I've ever heard.
Yep, exactly. Right, exactly.
Surprises absolutely no one. No, by the way, Ed, you're exactly right. You have to follow the money. And that goes with everything. Look at the Summer of Love riots. Follow the money there. Look at the pro-Palestine riots. Follow the money there. Look at some of these candidates. Follow the money. And look at some of these, by the way, these individuals online who at one time were reasonable people. A lot of these, I won't name names, we all know who they are, these podcasters who push out conspiracy theories and once respected people within this party. Follow the money with all of it, and you will get the answers as to why these people are acting the way they are. And I believe that a lot of this money even comes from overseas in a lot of cases, because if you think that Iran, if you think that China or Russia doesn't want to have a hand in disrupting things here in the United States, you are asleep at the wheel. You haven't been paying attention. They pay for a lot of this. We know it happens online.
Lara,
Yeah,
my
it wouldn't
opinion.
surprise me if it was also happening here.
Lara, my opinion. The money from the Asian areas are coming through that guy. It has to be Asian money.
Neville
money,
Singman.
money for the East Coast and the rest of the country, coming from possibly it used to come from Iran or Russia or whatever.
Yep, that's exactly right. And you think about what these people's goals are, John, and that tells you all you need to know. It tells you why we've seen the disruption in our country. They love to have us at odds with one another. They love to stoke hate and fear and cause us to break apart as a society. And we have to be better than that. We have to stand up to it. We can't take the bait. And sadly, I think this is probably the root of a lot of the problems that we have here in the country.
You know, I think about also Soros, too. I mean, he goes to some of those different charities, and it looks like some of those charities go to X, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, he's been one of the worst perpetrators of so much. How do you get pallets of bricks outside on street corners during the George Floyd riots? How do they suddenly appear out there? Well, somebody pays for those, and you have to follow the money back. And a lot of that kind of stuff was paid for directly by Soros or, you know, things that he had his tentacles in.
Yeah, no question.
With all those characters that funnel that money in, I am 99.9% sure it's being funneled through them, through other countries.
No doubt. No doubt.
And we don't deserve that. We deserve better as the United States, and we have to do better. We got to stand up against that.
Well, Lara, we're going to be tuning in on Saturday. I can't wait to watch Dana White, also hear about all the Minnesota fraud. You've got an action-packed show on our friend Judge Janine. It's going to be a great one, Lara. We'll all be tuning in.
You got two tough ladies.
Yeah, you do, Judge Janine and Laura. But I think only Laura's.
Thank you guys.
I think you're the only one who's been like in the fighter jets, right? Not. I don't know if Judge Janine's has been there, right?
Wait. And the Artemis.
Oh, and the Artemis, right?
And submarines.
There you go.
Yeah, you've done, and you did the Secret Service training. We're jealous. Yeah, we totally do.
John's coming with me on the submarine whenever I go on one of those. It's already a date. We got to book John.
He's ready.
I'm getting claustrophobia already.
By the way, you have witnesses too, Laura, okay?
I love it. Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 9 on Fox.
Sacco and Felix, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFilas.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's.